Welcome to this LEX 18 Digital Conversation. I'm Dia Davidson. March 8th is World Kidney Day. It's a global health awareness campaign focusing on the importance of the kidneys and reducing the frequency and impact of kidney disease worldwide. Joining me to talk about it all is David Scott. He's a volunteer with the National Kidney Foundation out of Louisville. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about kidneys. It's, you know, we think about heart disease and cancer and all of, but these tiny little organs are so essential to our health and well-being.
Yeah, that's right. There's an awful lot they do that, frankly, I had no idea about before it was important that I know this. So among the things that your kidneys do is when you produce urine, your kidneys are the most essential part of doing that and ensuring that your urine actually clears toxins from your body.
Sort of like a filter.
Yes, okay. Yeah, exactly. A filter's a perfect one-word way of putting it, and then also just offloading fluid from your body too, and then among various other things that a doctor could probably tell you about in a lot more detail, regulating your blood pressure, various electrolyte levels, you know, various other components of your blood, and really important systems throughout your body.
But this is a personal story for you, isn't it?
Yes,
because a lot of times we think of kidney disease as something maybe an older person might have. But you were a young man.
Yes, yeah, that's right. My doctors were very surprised. It's not something that's unheard of, but you're right. Statistically, it's relatively rare, but it can happen to anybody. So it was probably around the summer or the fall of 2015. I had gotten migraines for a really long time, but I started experiencing some other very strange symptoms that were somewhat similar to migraines, and I just kind of brushed them off as being migraines. They worsened pretty considerably, where it kind of got to the point where every day I was just struggling to kind of go through the motions around the end of 2015. And kidney disease is one of those things that's really hard to gauge how much pain you're in, because again, I thought it was maybe something treatable through medicine, but I went and got a blood test not until December of 2015, and I thought they were just going to give me some prescription medications for whatever was wrong with me and send me on my way. They called me, and this was days before I was going to leave for several weeks, and I don't know if I would have returned from that trip now. But they told me that my kidneys weren't working so well. And I was floored because I had never thought about my kidneys once in my entire life. I didn't know I could get kidney disease. And what happened in the next several days was a whirlwind. I went immediately to the emergency department at Chandler. I was told that my kidneys had a less than 10% function remaining. My blood pressure was around stroke level, and within several days I learned an awful lot, including that I would need immediate dialysis or a transplant to survive. And
you were lucky enough to get
a
transplant. Do you know anything about the donor?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah. This was both one of the most terrifying episodes of my life and unexpected, but it was also one of the most heartwarming and kind of redeeming experiences of my life too. The number of strangers who applied to donate to me was staggering, and both your station WKYT were wonderful enough to publicize some of this, and I was only on dialysis for 6 months, and they didn't discover, other than high blood pressure, a lot else that was wrong with me. And it turned out all along, after all the people that applied, it was somebody in the same department at the University of Kentucky as me, with whom I'm friendly and I thought really highly of, but we weren't even that close of friends. And I could not believe in the goodness of some of these people to do something that a lot of folks wouldn't do for a really close friend. So I know him very well. You know, we obviously remain friends for life.
I'm sure you're connected very closely now.
I thought he was a pretty incredible guy before, and even more so now. And the thing that's most heartwarming is, other than my story, I got to know so many people while I was going through what I was going through, who were even going through a lot worse, who received donations from people like I did. And that improves the long-term prospects for people like me.
Well,
a lot more.
Is it blood typing, or how do they figure out
Sure.
how you can match?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and I'll use as many terms as I know.
Okay.
So blood type
Right.
obviously matters a lot, and then there's some tissue typing. Like I know some of us, for instance, who have been exposed to blood products and stuff like that before. Fortunately, I hadn't. This made it a little bit easier. Is you develop you develop antibodies. You're resistant to some people's blood, and then this is something I don't know technically a lot about, but I know some sense of genetic matching is important. Then some things that you or I would probably guess, such as the donor's health and the donor's age relative to yours. So Clay Graham is his name, who's my donor, and Clay he's one of the healthiest people I've ever met. 5 years younger than I am, and he was the same. It was a miracle. He's as I understand it, the same degree of genetic matching for their purposes as a sibling. So,
wow,
which is really rare.
So we can live with one kidney.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. In fact, of course, this is partially because healthy people donate, but most studies indicate that the longevity of donors, kidney donors, is significantly longer than that of just the general population. So, obviously there's a minimal risk, but it doesn't arise on average. So, I mean, so what actually happens and is your one kidney, if you were to donate one, your remaining native kidney, in a sense, kind of compensates for the work of the other one, okay, in a way that's, as far as I think the weight of studies currently suggest, is not a danger to your body.
What about downtime? From the time of, finding a kidney, sure, to you walking out the door of the hospital.
Sure. Yeah. So dialysis, some people are able to continue to work while they're on it. For some people, especially if they have other complications, and for me this was the case, I would say at least initially, dialysis can be a full-time job.
Sure.
And there are a few different types. So you can go to a clinic, so there are a number of dialysis clinics throughout Kentucky, and I'd say for the average person, this is just kind of me projecting my own experience, I would go 3 days a week, and it was typically about 5 hours each time that you'd go there. Some people have to go more often, right, especially if they're in end stage like I was, end stage renal disease. And some people may have to go a little bit less, and that's called hemodialysis. So I was on that for a little while. And then there are people who are able, if they're lucky enough, not everybody's able to do this, but some people, especially if they're young and active, are able to do something called peritoneal dialysis. So peritoneal dialysis you can do at home. And initially you have to do it manually using basically like IV poles and clamps and bags, yeah, that have this big liquid in it. Yeah. You have to learn how to do that first in case of an emergency, and you're really actively doing that 7 to 8 hours a day to yourself. So it does become a full-time job. But eventually you get to work up to using a machine. And this is never a cakewalk, but a lot of times I was able to do this for a few months. You're able to set it up. You kind of, it's not pleasant to think about for some people maybe, but the dialysate, it actually goes, the liquid, it goes through a machine that you set up yourself every night. It goes into your peritoneum, which is in your abdomen, and it dialyzes, it works while you sleep. And so that'll work for like 8 to 10 hours. So those are kind of the two options. So some people who aren't able to find a transplant, they're doing that for years. And while it's able to significantly prolong people's lives, it's very burdensome.
Very expensive, I'm sure.
Very expensive. Oh, incredibly expensive. And it also has a time limit. I mean, there are people who have been able to stay on it for decades, but a lot of people can't do that. Right. It gets like less and less effective, and I know it puts a lot of strain on your body since it's not your body doing it, it's some machine that you're attached to.
So since this is something that's very personal to you,
sure,
what would be the one thing you'd want folks out there to know about kidneys, kidney disease, and
sure,
organ donation?
Sure. Yeah, so and there are a few facts on this card here that I think are most indicative. The thing that I'd want most people to know, and I posted this to all my friends and family on Facebook the day after I was first admitted to the hospital and diagnosed, and was able to post things.
Right.
Is I would really want anybody to listen to their body if something feels off. That was certainly the case with me. And I brush it off a little bit. So I'd want people to get blood tests, ask their doctor about their kidneys, ask it if it could be that anytime that something's wrong with them, or any number of things. Because it's over 30 million people in the United States have chronic kidney disease, which is a pretty, when I learned that, it's a pretty staggering number for the coverage or lack thereof sometimes that it receives. And 1 in 9 adults, if I'm remembering that correctly, I believe, have it in Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
And then 1 in 3 people, we would say, are at risk for it. So, by at risk, the 2 leading causes of chronic kidney disease, some of them are genetic, but the primary ones are high blood pressure and diabetes.
Right. And sometimes even medications. Some medications can even adversely
Yeah, that's
affect
speculation
kidneys
too. Like I know, for instance, I don't, again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to scare people into not taking this, but I know I can no longer take certain medications like Excedrin. I know are risk factors for people who already have it. I don't want to apply for everybody, they can't, but you're right, there are various.
So this is a conversation for your primary care, and then for them to go and maybe refer you to a nephrologist.
Yes,
so that they can
absolutely.
go ahead and kind of look at your medications, help you ferret through everything, and
Sure.
keep those kidneys as healthy as
Yes.
long as possible.
Yeah.
David, thank you so very
Yeah.
much. And
Thank
we
you.
thank you so very much for watching this LEX 18 Digital Conversation. Be sure to watch more digital conversations on lex18.com. Until next time, I'm Dia Davidson.